Hi everyone, Kay Berkner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Good morning, Kay.
How are you today?
I'm a little cold. It's definitely winter here.
Winter has indeed arrived. We can all put on our nice fuzzy slippers and grab a nice warm cup of coffee, tea, cider, whatever makes you happy.
That's right.
So today we're going to talk about some of the thoughts that we as parents have that can really contribute to the daily stressors in our lives. And of course, we have plenty of those. Oftentimes in our lives, we're talking about sort of how to approach discipline and child behavior in a calm and effective way. And today we're going to focus a little bit more on the parents. Dr. Phelan, to start out, can you sort of set the stage for us and talk to us about why you wanted to cover this topic?
Yeah, this one is a little different from handling tantrums, for example, because this problem is, it's pervasive in our society. It's crazy, but normal at the same time, means we all do it. But it affects our mental well-being and it affects what we're like to live with. So if you're concerned about for your spouse or partner, what do you like to be with? One of my jobs today is to convince you that 95% of your emotional stress doesn't come from the reality of your life. It comes from what you're thinking. And we have a society that's committed to emotional overarousal, obsessive thinking, chronic muscular tension. And that makes for just a lot of misery, but it's invisible. It's under the surface, kind of. You feel it, but you're not really aware that it's going on.
Yeah, so the way that you kind of describe this is parents having goofy thoughts. Can you sort of define what is a goofy thought? What is a thought that we as parents might be having internally that is actually generating stress in our lives?
Yeah, so a goofy thought can be defined in a couple of ways, but first we kind of have to set the stage. What you think, you get yourself in a certain situation, and what you think about that situation creates an emotion in you. And that emotion leads to action, or at least muscular tension, or a tendency towards certain actions. And this takes less than 2 seconds. So you can have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these thoughts every day. What if we're late to the doctor's office? Okay, that's a thought. Now, you may be perfectly on time, no problem, but that's a thought. It makes you anxious and it makes you bark at your child or something like that. So that's a goofy thought in the fact that in the sense that it's distorted. Am I a good mom is often a goofy thought that gets people. I think, am I a good mom? I think I'm not a good mom. That makes me depressed. And then I do something different with my kids. But a lot of the problem with the thoughts too is the volume we're talking about. You're talking about you, an average normal person, having hundreds of thoughts every day. Not all of them are goofy, but I'll guarantee a large portion are goofy. But just the sheer volume of them right off the bat causes a lot of stress.
And how aware do you think parents are that they're having this? I've heard this when it comes to decision making, right? That we make thousands of decisions a day. And if you were to, at the end of the day, look back at your day and think about, how many decisions did I make today? You might say like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, not in the range of thousands. So we're kind of orders of magnitude off in terms of what we maybe remember or recognize. What do you think that relationship is when it comes to these types of goofy thoughts that we might be having, stressing ourselves out about things that could happen or might happen, or one of my favorites, overanalyzing things that have happened and trying to figure out how other people feel about them and fearing how they might feel. How often do you feel, or do you believe that parents recognize that they're having these thoughts, and how many of them just sort of happen without us really having a lot of real awareness?
Well, these are thoughts, you're making a good point, because a lot of these thoughts are what we call automatic thoughts. They just happen. And so the answer to the question, how many do we recognize? We don't recognize very many at all. And I would bet that at least 50% of our thoughts are goofy, and that a lot of those goofy thoughts have to do with interpersonal relations with other people. We're primates. If that means anything to anybody, but that's the class that we come from, the evolutionary class. And primates are very social conscious. They're very worried about what other primates think about them and so on. So we do a lot of monkeying around, so to speak, worrying about what other monkeys or other primates are going to think about us during the day. And we make decisions based on that kind of stuff. And our decisions, we're not running around hurting people usually and all that. I'm talking about the stress we feel inside. So are we aware of it? No, not really. What percentage of the thoughts are goofy? Probably 50%. What's the largest percentage of those goofy thoughts is worrying about what other people are going to think of us?
And then how are these, since of course we don't want to leave the children out of this entirely, right? How do these goofy thoughts impact our kids, the way that we interact with our kids, and sort of to an extent, sort of the behavior that we're modeling for them?
Yeah, well, we're modeling obsessive behavior. We're modeling high stress behavior on an emotional stress scale going from 0 to 10. We are living in the 7 to 8 range. If you just think about it, for example, we watch the news. What does the news tell you? It tells you everything that's going wrong that you need to worry about. What else do you get from your TV? You get commercials. And what do they tell you? They tell you what you should be striving for in the future. Okay, so our kids are watching us doing this and worrying about this. Now, kids are automatically emotionally over-aroused anyway because they're kids. So that adds to the problem. So we've got us parents with all this stress and at a high level of emotion. We've got the kids naturally emotionally over-aroused. And we've got all our screens and TVs and everything, all that is geared toward high level of stimulation. So the kids are seeing us tense. The kids are seeing us worried. The kids are seeing us worrying and obsessing about things that in the long run aren't really that important.
So paint a brief picture for us, if you will, of what it would look like if we were able to get rid of a lot of these sort of goofy thoughts that we're having, if we were able to either not have them or not be impacted by them in the same way. What sort of difference would that make in our daily lives?
Yeah, well, it could make quite a bit of difference. And I'll tell you, what you said is very important because in a lot of ways, we can't get rid of the goofy thoughts, but I think you hinted at something else that's very useful, and that's we take them with a grain of salt. So what if I'm late for the doctor's appointment? Okay, what if I'm late? It's a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a deal is that? But we would take them with a grain of salt. We would move more slowly. We would talk more slowly. We would enjoy life more because when you're less anxious, you can enjoy all that. There's a whole smorgasbord of fun things in life to enjoy, which is friends, food, exercise, walking, a lot of different stuff, rest, sleep, a lot of things to enjoy. We would enjoy those things and our kids would see that. They'd see us modeling an enjoyment of life, an ability to handle stress at lower levels. And that's what we want them to grow up to do, is to do those particular kind of things.
Absolutely. So knowing that and knowing that that there is something that we could do to sort of reduce some of the anxiety and stress in our daily lives, how should parents go about doing that? Because it's one thing to say, take it with a grain of salt, or just stop thinking those things. And another thing to be able to actually do it in a moment where probably you're already kind of stressed out as it is. What are some kind of concrete steps that parents can take to start addressing this? Oh no, we've lost you just at the best part. All right, Dr. Phelan looks like he's frozen just a touch. And when he comes back, it usually only takes a few seconds. And he will tell us what it is parents can do to sort of address the stressful thoughts that they have, and how to not necessarily stop thinking those things, because it's very hard to get yourself to not think anything at all. But to really be able to take those things with a grain of salt when they happen. Aha, Dr. Phelan, you've rejoined us. Welcome back. I know, I was just saying, just at the best part.
We're talking about what to do.
Here. Yeah, so tell us what to do.
Yeah. The first thing is really you have to understand the problem. So my statement about 95% of your emotional stress doesn't come from the reality of your life, but it comes about what you're thinking. You got to understand that statement. And honestly, I don't know if I can sell you on it in the short period of time we have today. But let's imagine you do buy into that and you can understand that to some extent. There are a lot of different relaxation techniques. Exercise is a good one. Meditation is good for some people. You've got to pick one. And so we're good at pressing down the accelerator. We don't know where the brake pedal is. So 4 times a day, I want you to find and define your brake pedal. What's it going to be? I like putting on my phone, putting on 5 minutes until it's going to ding, and doing some breathing exercise several times a day. That's me. But you got to find something, look up relaxation techniques, but you got to find some way of putting on the brakes. It's one of the sad things about this is we can get excited and totally emotionally aroused in about 8 seconds. And it takes us a lot of times 5, 10, 20 minutes to calm down. But find your favorite thing, do it 4 minutes a day. How about a quiet time for your family, 1 hour in the afternoon? Everybody goes to their different quarters, maybe no screens, okay? But you don't interact and you just relax. Somebody takes a nap, they just sit, they read, they do whatever. How about 4 times for your family, quiet time per day? And 4 times you define how you're going to put on the brakes every day and see what it feels like.
Absolutely. So really creating the space to take a pause, to slow down a little bit, whatever that really looks like for you as an individual, likely to be different for everyone in your family too, right? Some people might want to listen to music. Some people might want to take a short walk. Some people might want to sit and do some breathing exercises. And, very likely if this isn't something that you've already spent time thinking about, the first thing that you try may not be the right thing, right?
It may not be, and I will guarantee you, your brain won't like it. Your brain will be screaming at you, you're wasting time. Okay, you should be doing this, you should be solving this problem, you should be talking with your kid, you should be making dinner, you should be doing this, and your brain won't care for it. So it's not an easy thing to do, but it is, once you get into it, it is fun when you're doing it, and it's worthwhile. And my biggest question, a lot of moms are externally oriented anyway. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, let me ask you this question. What do you like to live with during the whole day? And would this improve how your family interacts with you and how much fun it is for them to be with you? And I think it'd make a big difference.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Phelan. This has been terrific. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper into this topic, Dr. Phelan's going to be doing a free seminar next week. We'll post that to the Facebook page, but you can also get it in our weekly newsletter. Head on over to 123magic.com to get signed up. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.